Welcome to another episode of the Starter Girlz Podcast. I am your host, Jennifer Loehding, and wherever you are tuning in today, we are so glad to have you. So here we are, another episode of Starter Girlz, another amazing guest on the show today. So excited to chat with her. I know we've been trying to get this thing planned for quite some time, I feel like now, and so we're finally here on the internet doing this episode. So I am so excited. So I'm going to open up with this. Every so often, we meet someone who reminds us that purpose and passion can coexist. That busyness can be a force for good, and that growth rooted in integrity has the power to ripple beyond the bottom line. And so I am so excited to chat with my guest today. I'm trying to read my notes today, and my eyes are like, woo! It is what it is. So we're going to get her on the show today. So excited to chat with her. But before we do that, we do need to do a quick shout out to our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Productions. Need to add excitement to your YouTube videos or some expert hands for editing? Look no further. Walt Mills is the solution you've been searching for. Walt is not only your go-to guy for spicing up content, he's the force behind a thriving film production company with numerous titles in the pipeline. Always on the lookout for raw talent, Walt is eager to collaborate on film and internet productions. With a background deeply rooted in entertainment and promotion, Walt Mills leverages years of skills to give you the spotlight you deserve. Want to learn more about Walt and his work? Head on over to waltmillsproductions.net and let your content shine. All right. And with that, I do want to make a mention to head on over to startergirlz.com. I say this every single week. And why do I say it? Because one, this is where you can catch up with any of our episodes that you have missed, even the early ones that are out there. You can also sign up for our community newsletter, stay in the know, keep up with all the episodes that are coming out. And of course, if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, or maybe you're in the thick of it, I don't know where you are in your journey, and you want to find out what your number one success block is that may be hindering your success, well, guess what? I've got your back. We've got a 2-minute quiz over there that you can take, and it will tell you what it is that may be causing you to be stuck right now. So head on over to startergirlz.com. And as I always say, do your thing. All right. So I'm ready for my guest today. It's going to be so exciting. Jodi Scott. She is the co-founder and CEO of Green Goo, a purpose-driven wellness company creating plant-based body care and first aid products that combine innovation with integrity and heart. And so, Jodi, welcome to the show. I am so excited to have you here today.
Me too. I'm excited to be here with you. Thank you.
Hopefully our brains are going to be like working. We're doing this at the end of the day. So I know Jodi has been like crazy busy because she is a grooving and moving entrepreneur over there. And I've been crazy busy today. And so we've just kind of made a pact today that we're just going to sort of have fun with this, and wherever it goes, it's going to go. Right.
I love it. We'll just be the melting pot and let it all roll.
That's exactly right. That's exactly. Okay. So Jodi, let's talk about Green Goo. I want to talk about this, family kitchen experiment, how this came about for you. So take us back to those early days. Like what brought us to where we are right now?
Yeah. So my sister's an herbalist and a midwife, and I was pre-med. And my mom is a self-taught computer programmer, website developer. We grew up in the military. We moved around all the time. And my mom had to learn very quickly how she could have a career that she didn't have to reinvent all the time. And so she was one of those early adopters of computers. She was my first computer teacher. And so that really set the stage because my sister and I, we do not have the IT gene at all, at all. We're definitely on the more wellness side. And so when my sister was going to herb school, she started making these topical therapeutics with the various plants that she was learning about. And so we started using them for cuts and scrapes and pain relief and dry skin. And I was like, this stuff is really awesome. And I started thinking about just how we were living in general. And I was like, this is so interesting that here we are, we're eating fairly healthy. We're looking at ingredients like in our shampoo and conditioner, soap, but you open up our first aid cabinet and it was all the one-time use chemical products. And it was just like, well, this is the only thing that works, right? And then all of a sudden I'm seeing this stuff works better. So we started selling it at the farmer's market, mom being the website developer, put up a website, started, creating labels and so forth. And very quickly we had the longest line. Moms were coming up to us like, oh my gosh, my son who has eczema can now go to school. People who had injuries, chronic pain. They could now go and enjoy the outdoors, burns, scars, anti-aging, and people were just loving it. And I was like, we need to look at this like with a closer eye. So I started looking at the OTC space and I was like, wow, we are not alone. I saw the same pattern. The natural consumer was willing to abandon their natural ethos because they were told products like Neosporin, hydrocortisone were the only products that could get the job done. And then even more interesting to me was that the conventional consumer was like, I don't care what the ingredients are. I just need something that works better. I have a chronic skin condition, which, oh, by the way, are at all-time high right now. They're using these OTC products and it's like use for 7 to 10 days and discontinue use if symptoms persist because otherwise it's toxic. And then they have to go to their physician, get a prescription, and it was just inconvenient. So that's when we huddled up and we said, well, what if we can make a product or a group of products that are superior in efficacy, but oh, by the way, they're also plant-based and also sustainable. So that's how Green Goo was born.
I love it. Well, and I think what's so great about this is what you guys all bring together, right? Like you're talking about how your mom sort of has the IT side. I don't have that, by the way. I'm with you. I don't have it's funny. I was telling someone just today, I was like, hey, you know what? Like I rebuilt my websites and I use this AI builder to do them because I was like, I needed these new websites and I didn't know how to build out this stuff. Or maybe I shouldn't say I didn't. I just didn't want to take the time to mess with it, to be honest. And so I use this AI builder to build them out. And then I realized in the middle of that, I was like, ooh, this is kind of hard too. Because the AI is like, it's good for some things, but then it's just awful at other things. It would like every time it fix something, it would mess up 5 other things. And so I'm with you. I don't like the IT stuff, but I also sort of have that background in the wellness space. And so I love what you guys are doing because honestly, for me, personally, it's funny because right now I've got these cats that have like 3 cats that have this feline leukemia thing. We rescued them, found out afterwards. And so of course I'm doing kind of holistic herbal type things, with them. And so my natural tendency is anytime I have whether it be, like a topical or even an internal, is to lean into a holistic way to try to heal myself. So I am all about like, there's alternative ways to heal, something. And I did and thank you for sending me some goods. I'm loving it. And I really love the lip balm stuff, like the lemon, that stuff, it smells so freaking good. It smells so yummy. It's like I put it on, I'm like, I want to eat this stuff.
And you can. We always
Yeah,
say if you can't eat it, you shouldn't
right.
wear it.
Right.
And it's so interesting that you share that about your cats because
Mhm.
so 25% of the population is allergic to neomycin, which is the active ingredient in Neosporin. It is toxic to animals. There is not a great over-the-counter first aid solution for pets. And what's great about our products is our Green Goo First Aid is wonderful for pets. And so it's not only going to take speed up the healing, but it's going to take the sting and itch out and then slow down the bleeding, speed up the healing. And, a lot of times these dogs or cats, they have to wear the cones because
Right.
they want to neurotically itch or lick it. And the
Yeah.
reality is like, they're just trying to solve and soothe the sting and the itch. And so because these plant properties also take the sting and the itch out, it's also really great for the dogs because they're like, oh, I'm actually getting the relief that I want. And they can
Right.
actually, if they do so, decide to lick the wound area, it's okay because it's
It's
not
not
toxic for
toxic.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I love it. I think it's great, and I like that you guys have been able to come together. And I think that's what's so beautiful. When you bring people in with different skill sets and backgrounds to come together to create this, and how fun that you get to do, kind of a family business with your sister and your mom. I mean, how cool is that?
It is the greatest gift. We have so much fun together, and we really were, to your point, like the perfect trifecta. I'll never forget when we got our first sales meeting, and it was so funny because I was like, "Okay, we're gonna go to the sales meeting." My mom's like, "Nope, I'm the graphic designer. Like, that's what I do." And I was like to my sister, I said, "Okay, you're gonna come, right?" And she's like, "No, I'm the herbalist." Like, no, 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 no. And I was like, did I just draw the short straw and now I have to go do the sales? And so I walk into this sales meeting, never done this before. and later find out it's the second largest retailer in the world. So it was the Air Force Exchange. And for
Wow.
us, we were just passionate about bringing these clean products to the military because they're always the last ones to get the innovation. And
Sure.
already the military was taking our products out with them, especially the first aid product, with them out to deployments because they're suffering from blisters and
Yeah.
sunburns and chafing and so forth. And so you can just pop this little tin in your fatigue and just deal with the things that just make life a little bit more inconvenient, right? And so I go into this meeting and find out it's the second largest retailer. And they're asking me, like, oh, I need a line sheet and a PDQ. And do you have UPCs? And are you set up for EDI? And I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking
Right.
about. But I come back to the crew and mom, sister, and I, Jen, Kathy, um, just their mindset in terms of like, hey, we've got this, and such an encouraging group, and we've been best friends for so long, and talk about weathering some difficult times, like building the company and learning how to really support each other's zone of genius and respect each other's zone of genius so that we could be successful and not be one of those toxic family businesses that you sometimes hear about, and so we
Right.
could create a culture and a community with our employees where they could thrive as well and feel that there was equitable policies, all of the family plus the employees were getting the fair treatment. And so the cool part, I mean, eventually my husband works for the company, then my sister's husband works for the company, my dad, the retired general's like labeling in the warehouse. But we
Oh
were
my
able to
goodness.
kind of create that family culture. So even the employees felt that family energy. So it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, no, and I love it. You've got the whole crew in there. So that's just awesome. And I agree. It's you do hear these stories. I love it because I get to, every now and then I do get these stories on here where it's like a family business. And I think that is so incredibly special because a lot of times people have businesses, but not everybody gets it, right? Like not everybody gets that entrepreneurial spirit, and it's not a good or bad thing. It's just that not everybody understands that. And having, I don't know if I shared this with you, but I was 22 years in Mary Kay, and we used to always talk about how women in business, if they had a spouse backing them and behind them, they could do anything, and if they didn't, it was really difficult for the woman to overcome that, to work the business. I mean, you really had to be strong to overcome that. And so I think that, yes, that is an incredible, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but just really a unique thing that, when you have everybody wrapped around that and they get the vision. And even if they don't know, like you said, don't know everything, you come together and say, we'll figure it out. Right. Like it's part of the business. We will figure this out as a team.
It is so true. And to come back to being able to be grateful for a partner that supports me to be able to do all of these things. I mean, last night, I probably put in a 15-hour day. I was exhausted, and it's 9 o'clock at night. And I'm thinking, okay, I cannot send one more email. I cannot do one more thing. The best thing to do is just go to bed. And I'm
Yeah.
watching my husband, and he has my daughter's lunchboxes set out, and he's like prepping all of her lunches for the week, and then prepping breakfast for the next couple of days, and then doing some prep work for dinner. And I just looked at him and I was like, thank you. We're all eating healthy because of you. You've planned this, you've saved time. And it is hard for women in business and moms to be able to excel when they don't have a good support system. And so just kind of celebrating that for all of those people out there who, have that to just be more grateful. And for those that don't, we see you, we hear you.
Yeah.
And we understand that like women, we got a lot going on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's crazy because I feel like what you're saying, and even though we're doing different things in our, each of our spaces, it's like, sometimes there's so much demand. You're trying to run the business, but you're also trying to keep the family life and your personal sanity as well, right? Like you're trying to keep your peace. And I'm like you, I like you were talking about last night. I can't send one more email. This is me, 10 o'clock. I sit down and I'm like, I'm just done. Shut the laptop. Get off the computer, just sit down. And it's so funny because I don't know what your little, I call it detoxing, trashing moment is, but I will sit down when I finally sit down. And typically it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock. That's when I finally call it. I'm like, I'm done. I'll sit down and I'm like, okay, do we want to play solitaire? Do we want to look at cat videos and TikTok? What do we want to do for the next like? And I'm not kidding you. This is like 5 to 10 minutes because I'm so tired. I'm ready for bed. Like this is seriously like I sit down and attempt, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed.
That
You
is
know, I
so
mean, it's like
great.
I crash. It's like I'm just
Mhm.
done, you
Oh my
know? And
gosh.
so I hear you as when you say that, you just sometimes you do it. But I applaud you for that teamwork you have.
And I really appreciate you sharing your sort of 10-minute unwind that is
Yeah.
just unplugged. My
Yeah.
husband will always be like, "Are you really, really looking at Zillow? Like, what zip code are you in right now?" And I'll just sit there for that 10 minutes and just kind of scroll some Zillow and be like, "I wonder what's happening in, Montgomery, Alabama right now."
Yeah.
It's just like,
My husband doesn't want me to do that right now because I'm talking about beach houses. And I'm like, if I start doing that, I'm gonna be sending him pictures of beach houses.
"Oh
I'll
yeah,
be like,
I'll send it to him." And he's like, "Oh no, oh no."
I haven't done that yet. My mother told me the other day, she's like, you need to get in there and start looking. I'm like, yeah, I do need to do that. Maybe that's what I need to be doing in that
There you
that 10
go.
minutes instead of doing the literally like I'm not kidding you. My TikTok, I pull it up. I seriously do not look at it very much, but at the end of the day, it's all cats.
Oh, that is too much
Tons of
fun.
cat videos, you know? And then I'm sending them to my kids. I'm like forwarding them. I'm like, hey, here's another one for you. Here's another one, you know?
And they're so good. I mean, my goodness, like, you get some good cat videos going, you're like,
Yeah.
"This is amazing."
I know, right? Best therapy ever, I'm telling
Ever.
you.
Yeah,
Ever.
good
You should make kids.
serotonin lift.
Yes, I love it. Well, I would love to ask you a little bit about Green Goo because one of the things is the mission you've got, which is, doing good for people and the planet. How do you keep that mission in the center as you're growing this business? Because obviously that's the goal here is to grow, but keep that, your mission at the center as well.
Absolutely. And it's been an interesting journey to protect that and cultivate it and then be profitable and be successful. So our mission is spread goodness. And the idea is that it's not just spreading these like, wonderful plant properties on your skin, but it's also how you interface with the team and how you build that culture and that community within the organization and just be empowered that when you're even outside of that, how can you just spread some goodness? And then our vision is bringing forward time honored traditions. And so it's not just the fact that we protected the integrity of the process, we're bringing an old process of how plants were turned into topical therapeutics and like medical products, but then also, you know, what is more storytelling and just spending more quality time with each other. And so from a product level, we still make the ingredients ourselves. So when we first started this, doing the farmer's market, we're growing the herbs in our backyard, we're drying them on old kitchen racks, or excuse me, front door, like screen doors. And so we have those, and then we're bringing them into the kitchen on these racks, and then we take them through this infusion process. We
Love
get the
it.
high amounts of the medicinal properties, and then we put these custom oils into the plants or into the products. And that's why it works. And so here we are, customers are loving the products, it's time to scale. Well, manufacturers, they're looking at us like, we don't want to make this stuff. Like, I don't even understand. We just want to buy pre-made extracts and then put it all together. And we're like, you can't do that. The pre-made extracts compromise the efficacy. It brings in sneaky ingredients. So we finally find a manufacturer whose son had eczema. He used our product and he was like, "This is the only product that has ever worked for my son. We will
Wow.
find a way. The world needs this product." And so that dry skin formula, John Hopkins has been using in their scleroderma and skin condition department for over a decade. And we've protected the integrity of that process. And so to this day, we bring those plants to the manufacturing facility, we take it through that process. And that's why you get these unique custom oils that cannot be found anywhere else and why it works. And so, sort of fast forward to today, there's tariffs, price increases happen,
Right.
you get to that point where do we have to revisit the production? And we're like, no, we just have to change our model. So maybe we do less business with retailers that cost more to do business with so that we can keep the price point still attainable and also still make sure that we're keeping the lights on. And so the core is making sure we're always protecting the integrity of that And then therefore we scale appropriately. And, I think the team, because this has been such a big part of how we grow and who we are. When COVID happened and we had an office and everyone was in person, and then COVID happens and all of a sudden everyone's working from home, we were 95% retail. So you find Green Goo in pharmacies because if you have poison ivy, that's where you go to get your product. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, no one's going in stores anymore.
Right.
And so suddenly we have a complete stop on our retail sales. And we don't want to let any of our team go. My team pivoted so fast. Matter of fact, we couldn't even get packaging.
Wow.
Everything was at a halt, but we also had sanitizer in our portfolio. And so the team just very quickly was able to find packaging, make sure we were getting sanitizer out to first responders, especially, and also the consumer, while also everyone had dry hands. So all of a sudden, you're coupling the sanitizer with the green goo. And my team was able to move so quickly, and we gave away thousands and thousands
Wow.
of sanitizer for free because the team they knew at their core what our mission and our vision was, and they were protecting that all along the way, and also being very productive in pivoting and supporting our community in a state of crisis. And so we didn't have to let go a single employee. And I really attribute that to the team being able to execute so quickly because there was such clarity in our DNA.
I love it. No, you gave me chills when you were telling that story. 'Cause
Mm.
I'm like, just well, first the give back, obviously, provide the provisions that you guys were putting out there, but also just the pivoting, going into action instead of freezing, because so many businesses during that time, I mean, it was either do or die, right? Businesses either pivoted or they went under. I mean, that's really what it was. And no matter what you were doing, you were forced to make that decision, to do that. And I just remember, even in my model, completely different than yours, I just remember having to go from this is the way I was doing things to now all of a sudden I've got to think differently, and operate differently. But so much, for the people I feel like that really stuck around, I think a lot of good kind of evolved in the aftermath of that, right? Like the resilience and the evolution of businesses that were able to weather through. And so congratulations. I mean, just awesome. Awesome.
It was wild. And again, I think when I reflect, I think sometimes we don't think that investing in our culture or even ourselves or our community is
Sure.
the most productive output of our time, right? It's just very much a transactional piece of the
Mhm.
business that needs to happen. And
Right.
I think the short-sightedness in that thinking is that put pressure on a business, all of a sudden, what do you need most? You need your community. You need
Right.
the team to be able to know what to do and stick together in those difficult times. And so and you need to be able to find your own grounding. So if you didn't invest in yourself, it becomes very difficult. You're going to be in fight or flight all the time. You lose clarity,
Mhm.
you lose focus. And
Mhm.
so it really reaffirmed to me the importance and the value of taking the time out on all three of those fronts in terms of making sure I was taking the time to invest in myself, whether that means getting present, going for a walk. Because I think, as entrepreneurs and especially as women, we're talking about we don't turn our computers off till 9 or 10 o'clock. We can do one more
Right.
email.
Right.
Resilience is grit, resilience is pushing. And
Mhm.
sometimes resilience is stopping and just getting present and like refilling your cup so that you can also show up as a leader to your team to be able to ensure that they're doing that same thing. And I've really appreciated sort of the halo effect of that practice because I see my husband doing it, I see my daughter doing it. She'll kind of get present before she's going into an exam or take a deep breath if she's dealing with something that's overwhelming. And it's fun to see that maybe just by me doing these simple acts of goodness to myself, I'm having a healthier dynamic with my husband. My daughter is going to be more resilient. And then, of course, on the employee level, it's empowering them to have that kind of same halo and domino effect in their own personal and professional life.
Yeah. No, and I agree. We used to always say this in Mary Kay, more is caught than taught. And you don't really realize the impact of the things, what you do day in and day out and how it rolls over to your point on that. But also when you were talking about, I want to mention, even go back to what you were saying about the doing for yourself, because yeah, you can't really be present and available for others if you're not taking care of yourself in that process. And so, yes, I agree with you there, the much needed importance of that. In fact, when I work with, I don't do as much coaching now as I used to, but, I would tell the people that I would work with, because so often we would say we don't really have time to do those things. And you hear people say this all the time. I don't really have time to do those things. And I, really bring up the question that you really can't afford not to do those things because you're going to pay for it somewhere. It's going to catch up, and it's either going to pay in your pocketbook or in your health, your relationship, somewhere it's going, and it may be all of the areas, right? It may show up everywhere, and so, yeah, you really can't afford not to take the time to do that. So I agree with
There
you on all those fronts.
there's a saying, build the well before you're thirsty, and thinking about that from a self-wellness, community, culture, teamwork standpoint,
Yeah.
because it's a lot harder to when you are in thirsty to
Yeah.
solve that problem, you know?
Right. You can't pour from an empty wagon, right? Right? Or an empty well, whatever you
Exactly.
wanna whatever that saying is,
Yeah.
you can't give in to anybody else if you're not have it there. But I also love that you brought up this part about, giving back to the community, because I think that this really is, I think, so often, because you and I are both in a space. I mean, obviously I am too. I'm in a space where I'm seeing other entrepreneurs, and I'm in that now. I'm leading a networking group here. And so a lot of the talk we talk about is really about this whole idea of, you know, thinking in nonlinear terms. And I had a mentor I worked with for a while that introduced me to this word obliquity. And I brought this up at an event, and they were all like, "What's that word?" And I'm like, "Oh, I feel smart for the day. It's a word nobody knows, right?" And it's really the roundabout way of doing success, right? Like, you guys made a decision to provide this sanitizer out into the community for these first aid responders, right? There is no guarantee of any return or anything coming from this, but you did some community service act that actually did good and really comes back to your brand, puts you out there. And so this is, what I tell people. It's everything we do really is, how do we put ourselves out there in a way that it's not always going to be immediate ROI. It's going to be, maybe we're doing good for the community or for our customers or whomever we're putting that out there, but it really adds value to who we are, our brand, what we're doing. And I think it just gives a clear message that you're about doing good, right? Like, you're about putting whatever that is, that happy mojo out into the world.
Oh my gosh, that's my word of the day, obliquity. Thank
It's
you.
a
Yeah,
You're
when we have
welcome.
dinner tonight, I'll be sharing that with them, and I love the universal, like, the visualization of that and how
Mhm.
that can be applied in so many ways of our lives, whether
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
wellness and family and building a business. And it's very energetic, like it's flowing, it's not stuck, it's movement. And then, like you said, there's this beautiful way of how it kinda comes back to you in this, like, lovely karma way,
Yeah.
like you said, with the sanitizer. I mean, we we're sitting here till 3 o'clock in the morning, getting on multiple nights, just trying to get this sanitizer out to these first responders, and then the flip side of that was that so many people ended up learning about Green Goo and what a gift that was, and then we just had so many wonderful relationships that were developed from that. I mean,
Mhm.
customers to this
Mhm.
day, I mean, we met Jane Doe number 1, who was pulled from the World Trade Center and had horrible injuries, and she discovered our Green Goo pain relief product through this journey, and she's like, "It is the only product that helps me with my opioid withdrawal," and she was having these horrible seizures every time she brought the dosage down, and she's like, "Can you please make it in, like, a bigger container for me right now? Because 'Cause I'm just going through it." I'm like, "Absolutely." And she's still a dear friend, customer to this day, and, yeah, I really appreciate that, and that's what made me think of it.
Yeah. I know we don't always think about that in terms. And I think in business so often we're thinking, like everything needs to be transactional. You kind of mentioned that early on, right? We get so, because we have to make a living. Like we can't just give everything away and do everything for free, but it is so much. And it's so funny. Even like today, somebody was asking me about my podcast, because I was talking to someone yesterday about, I have so much content. Like we've done so many videos. I mean, somebody could have just an exciting time with the content, repurposing it. So I was talking to this guy about repurposing the content, and he was like, "Well, what are you doing with the podcast? Like, what are you trying to do with that?" And really, from the get go, when I started this show in 2019, it was always really about I just wanted to give back. I wanted to find a way to inspire women, and really, I don't know that time how large I thought it would be or what I would be doing, but I think it was just I wanted to find a platform to inspire because it wasn't something I had always had. And when I went into Mary Kay, I was in that organization for 22 years and I was exposed to amazing mentors and to leadership and into an environment where it was so odd to me to see women actually praising other women to success. Like I had just never seen that. And so when I came out, that was what I wanted to do. Well, anyways, I was, telling this guy today, he's asking me, he's like, "Do you make money off the podcast?" And I'm like, yes and no, but that's never was really my intention with it, when I started it. And so yesterday I'm having this conversation with this guy on repurposing this content. He's like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, I really just want a community. That's what it is. For me, it's just a place to provide knowledge, resources, inspiration, motivation, all of those things that are important to me. And it's really about taking these conversations. I always say that everybody, I've told you this when we talked the first time, everybody that comes on here is really just an extension of the things I'm talking about. You guys are all just a piece of the core things that are important in my world. And so it's a beautiful thing when we get to do that. But I will tell you in the process, that so many cool things have happened with the show, because I've never really been so hung up on the dollar on every piece of it. And I've met so many incredible people, learned so many things about just different people from different parts of the world and business, different things. I like to your point, we're talking about tech. I've had, tech people come on here and I know nothing about tech, Jodi, and they get on here. We're having these conversations and I'm like, I get it. I'm like, I have no idea what we're even going to talk about because I know nothing about tech. Right. And then I learned something new from the conversation, and I walk away and I'm like, "Hey, I talked to this guy about this today." And like, I would have never even known this had I not had this conversation. So I firmly believe, what we put out into the world comes back. And when we do good, good comes back to us. And so I want to commend you on that because I just think it's an awesome thing. And it really leans into your whole purpose of, doing good and
Mm,
into the world and to the people.
back at
I love
you.
it.
I love all of that. It was interesting the other day, someone asked me, so if you could meet one person and have a conversation with that person, who would it be? And it was kind of a, you know, random question with
Yeah.
a fire drill moment. And I was like, Nina Simone. And they were like,
Oh,
tell me more. And I said,
yeah.
she was a woman, a Black woman activist who was unapologetic for her passion and her creativity, but she used music and her entertainment as a vehicle for activism
Yeah.
to have a voice. And I thought, what a clever way to take your
Mhm,
talent
mhm.
and bring so much more forward, amplify your initiatives and your efforts. And I
Yeah.
feel oftentimes that that's what we do with Green Goo, where Green Goo is this beautiful product that works. It works amazing. I could not live without it. And I love hearing from my customers that they can't live without it and that their life is better for it and the environment is better for it. But the next layer to that is this community and this empowerment to change the world and to feel better and to know that there's alternatives that can work better,
Mhm.
and sourcing. And so I so appreciate your intention with the podcast and just putting that out there, and that curiosity and that creativity and how that brings such wonderful conversations forward for people to learn more. And then for you, you get to also bring home all these other nuggets and meet all these amazing, there's so
Yep.
many amazing people. And I
Mhm.
I also want to lean in more to your statement of being in a container where women support and encourage women to be successful.
Mhm.
And I just want to
Mhm.
underscore that and like everybody put that on. Like let's
Yeah.
cheer each other on because like we've got a lot, women are powerful. We are
Mhm.
like multifaceted, all the things. Join
Yeah.
forces because great things can come from that.
I agree. I agree. And I think so often we feel like we have to compete with each other. And, I always have this, like I am so big, like Jodi, you put me in a room with a bunch of confident women and I love it because to me, it's like a powerhouse. It's like everybody's like, cool, what are you doing? And how can I support you? And, there's not that, I don't know what it is, that just secret jealousy. It's just everybody's on that same, like, how do we support each other? And I'm with you. I think it's as women, we need to do more of that. We need to be more into how do we help each other and support each other in business. It's really not a competition because I feel that we find the people that are supposed to find us. It's like
Mhm.
even when I bring people on this show, like when I was doing a lot of coaching, people are like, do you want to bring other people that are doing what you're doing? And Jodi, I've always felt like the people that want to work with me are going to work with me. Right. And the people that don't are going to find the people they need to. So I don't really feel it's a threat because in my mind, I feel okay with what I do. I feel okay with my message. I feel okay with what I put out there. If I'm not your person, I'm okay with that. You find the person that is for you. You know what I mean?
I
And I'm okay with that. I don't know that I can say that I've always been that way, but I think I have grown into that space where it's like I realize, and I will joke and say, listen, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I get it. I'm direct and I love to have fun, but I'm a direct person. And so not everybody wants that. Some people want more of I don't want to say sugar coated, but just more fluff, and I'm not the fluff girl. I'm just I call it like it is. This sucks. We're not gonna do this, but we are gonna be positive. We're gonna find a way out of this, kind of thing. So yeah, I
Mm,
I think that we can all lean into supporting each other and be great cheerleaders for each other.
that is just fantastic. And I think you also brought out an undercurrent in there, which is it's okay if they're not your tribe. And it doesn't have to be that it's bad intentionality, right? Like
Right.
we're all lovely, colorful, different people. And you're right, you'll find where you need to be and those manifestations will happen. And when you continue with curiosity and empathy, and no judgment, you just kind of land where you need to land and everyone, and it works out and you can appreciate each other for who they are and then lift each other because I love what
Yeah.
rising tides raises all boats.
Yes. It's a
And
yes. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
yeah, and I just when you can feel that energy in a room, it's powerful. And
Yeah.
so I always really dig that.
Yeah. I love that you keep saying curiosity too, because that is a word that comes up a lot when I talk to leaders is really just being curious. And I think that there's so much power behind it because it's really puts you in a position to learn, right? Like when you go into a space of curiosity versus already preconceived ideas and notions and biases, it really allows you to find opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, because you're not so set on it being this way or the person's doing this thing or this motive. It gives you the ability to say, oh, well, maybe I wonder why they did that, or why they chose that particular route or that particular product or that person or whatever. It gives you a little bit of I guess, mystery to dive into that.
It's a leadership superpower that I think oftentimes is overlooked. And when you're in a leadership position or a parenting position or a partner
Yes.
position,
Yes.
and
All leadership.
yes, and you bring that curiosity as, like, one of your North Stars, and you're like, "I'm gonna go into this situation, and I'm gonna be curious as to what is the need of this employee or why they might have made the decision that they did or what it is that they're proposing or what have you, conflict resolution," right?
Yeah.
And your partner, like, what is it that he's bringing or she's bringing forward in this conversation? And it can really open up the conversation and navigate it in a way that can be so high level and so productive and great clarity. And so I think curiosity, this like thinking like a child, where as we get older, curiosity just kind of becomes
Right.
not a part, it's not reinforced, I guess.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, finding those things that can remind you how to tap into that curiosity. And I had a coach once, um, he would have me do a lot of these presence exercises where it was, I want you to hear the sound that's furthest away. And I just want you to focus on that sound and only that sound, and then bring it in. And then I want you to focus on the sound that's like closest to you. And then from there, I want you to do a visual exercise and look at the
I
thing
love
that's
it.
furthest away, and just kinda doing these sensory exercises where you're less, letting that frontal lobe take over and all of
Right.
this, like, conversation,
Yeah.
and it's literally a neuropsych exercise that opens up the floodgates for you to practice curiosity in a setting where you may not you're more fight or flight, right? You're in a heated
Yeah.
conversation with your
Right.
partner, or you're
Right.
in a heated conversation with a coworker, and when you can stay curious, it can be so productive.
Yeah, yeah. I love this, Jody, and I love that your coach did this because I hadn't heard this, and so this is something new. I learned something new. I feel like I learn a lot of things. It's so great. I go through these conversations, and it will be so funny because I'll be talking to either a group or to somebody else, and I'll be like, "Yeah, I had this conversation the other day with somebody on the show. And we were talking about this," and it's so great because I feel like we just take in so much, information when we talk to people, and it's great because we can share it with others. So thank you for sharing that. That was good. So
Absolutely.
going in, and you've said so many great things. We've talked about leadership and like motherhood and really all of the even the culture of your organization. I love all of this. What do you feel like? Aside from even talking the curiosity, what do you feel like you've learned about yourself in this journey? Because you've evolved this. And so as you've evolved it, you've evolved.
That is a wonderful question, and so much to unpack from that.
Yep.
And I think we've kinda we've touched on some of that sort of entrepreneurial journey, which is
Mhm.
I spent many years in fight or flight, and it was resilience and grit kinda go hand in hand, and you do that next thing. And what I recognized was I needed to invest more in being present, and that was just as valuable, like that exercise I just shared with you in terms of the sensory exercise. That exercise was just as important as going to the gym and having sort of a gym, so I will call them reps, and I will
Right.
do them throughout the day. I'm not someone who can sit and meditate for 2 hours. I mean, I guess I should refrain from that limiting, statement. I could if I wanted to, but I do
Right.
not want to meditate for 2 hours. But I sure want the benefits of
Yes.
meditating for
I
2
love the
hours.
honesty.
And so what I have found is that, and the data is there to support it, that you can do these 30-second to 2-minute reps throughout the day that compounding have some of the same impacts and the same effects.
Yeah.
And so I make sure that I invest more in myself and stay more present. And I also invest more into my community. Yes, I was in fight or flight and I was investing in my business community, but I wasn't investing in sort of my business network community as
Sure.
much. And not because I needed my business network community to solve a problem for me,
Right.
like, I need a bank, more so that I had a container and a platform to be really raw. Because when you're at the top, you cannot share everything with your employees, and you
I
can't share
agree.
everything with your partner. And you really need a container where you can just say how rotten your day was and get really real and unload it. And so
Yeah.
I invest more time in, I know you talked earlier about getting with your group today. I once
Mhm.
a month for 4 hours, I've got a forum that I go to, and it's this confidential space where we get real with each other and challenge each other. When
Love
you're
it.
starting to have some of those limiting perspectives or the imposter, or and really workshop it with them so that I can come out of that, one, feeling lighter because I was able to unload, but then two, I can take those skills or somewhere that I am stuck in life and move it forward. And I wish I had done that younger. And I don't think that it's something that's really encouraged it in the young entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
And so I really highlight that as the sooner you can do that, the better it'll serve you and ultimately your team and the results.
Yeah, I love that, Jodi. I love that you said container. I love that you've used that word too, because I haven't heard of it like that way, but you're so right. I mean, think about container. Because yes, we do have to have a place because like I mentioned early on, not everybody around us gets it, right? And the more you move up, it's like your circle gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, right? And you start finding that, I don't know about you, but I find that everybody, the people that I were in my circle before, I still love them, respect them, but the conversations are very different. And I can't always unpack the high level things or the things that are going on in my world with those people because they just don't understand it. It's like me telling my husband yesterday when I'm going to work with this guy and he's like, "What's the going to be the ROI on this?" And I'm like, "It's advertising." I don't know because we just have to put it out there. Sure, we can target, like, right? We're going to target, the guy's going to put stuff out there. We're talking videos, Jodi. He's going to put it out there and say, "Okay, this isn't working. Let's pull this back. Let's try something different." But it's an experiment. We have to. He knows what he's doing. He knows his numbers. He knows what he's going to do. He knows his methodology, right? But we don't exactly know what's going to work yet until we put it out there, right? And so not everybody gets all the pieces, is what I'm saying, all the pieces of what we do in our journey as an entrepreneur. And so I think having a place where people can sort of get it, and it's not anything in it for them. So in other words, we can go in there and we can say, "This sucked. I need help." Like, right. And they don't have to take any emotion or feel the weight of that at all. Whereas the people around us may feel that weight and it may feel heavy. Right. And so we don't want to do that. And so we used to even say that, I'm not kidding you, when we were building teams, we would say, when you are going through something, you don't talk to the people below you, you go up. You talk to somebody above you because they would be able to help you navigate that next level, right? Like moving into that growth stage. And so it's so true, right? And I don't know about you, I don't even want to share all that stuff because like I just don't even want everybody to be in the mix of that because sometimes it just doesn't sound glamorous, it's work, and anything you want in this what we're doing, you're gonna have to work for it. Like you're gonna have to put in a little bit of sweat into that.
And our partners or siblings or my mom, like they all have roles in your life to protect you or problem solve
Sure.
for you, or they get emotionally charged. And the reality is there's oftentimes things that they can't fix for you, and nor should
No.
they,
Right.
and so at least you can go and workshop it. And sometimes there is no workshopping. It's just, you just need to like move that energy through you and say it somewhere. And then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
done.
You just need to have the this is me. Have the temper tantrum and just get it out. Like
Right.
I'm so funny, Jodi. I don't know if you're like this, but like when okay, two things I'll say. When I'm stuck, I usually know I need to go talk to somebody. I need to find somebody in my circle that I can have that conversation with because an idea is going to come. But the other thing is when I'm really in a moment where I'm like just angry about something that's gone on or whatever, I'm like, "You have 24 hours, Jennifer, 24 hours to pout, do whatever you need to do, throw the temper tantrum, whatever, because tomorrow it's over. We're moving on. It is gone." And I'm serious. I am so that way. It is very seldom that I allow myself to like sit in something heavy like that in my business or whatever for very long. I'm going to go into action mode. Like you talk about your team when y'all went into action mode. That's me. I'm going in. We're going to pivot. We are going to go a different direction, do whatever we need to do. And so I really love that you said that early on about that because I think that is so important as leaders that we recognize when we're in those states, right? And be willing to put the brakes on and say, "Move. You can't stay. You've got to make a decision to move forward.
It's
Let it
so
go."
easy to get paralysis. Like we have a saying, like, don't put your hand on the hot stove for too long. You need to
Yeah.
have the human experience. Like,
Right.
have a pity party, throw a temper tantrum. My mom would always say, like, take that 24 hours and just like, go ahead, just let it all out. And then once
Yeah.
that's done, it's time to get back on the horse again. And so just not staying in that place for too long, and yet still acknowledging that we are humans and we need to have the human experience. It's important to let that emotional experience move through you in order for you to really get on that horse and perform in a way that's going to serve you and everyone else.
Yeah. I like your mom, by the way.
She's pretty great.
Moms are
And
good
let
to
me
listen
tell
to.
you,
Yeah,
she
that's
is one of
great.
the funniest people I've ever met too. And like for her, if she gets the giggles, it's all over. Like then
Oh,
you
goodness.
can't stop laughing. And then we were out and we would do this when we were like 12 years old. We'd be getting the bill after going out to dinner, and my mom would start, and we'd be like, Mom, don't. And then she would start laughing, and then we would start laughing. She has the most contagious laughter of any human I've ever met. And I mean, after you have a little laughing fit with her, you're like exhausted and
Yeah.
satiated all at the same time. It's
That's
amazing.
so great. Well, laughing is such good therapy. Like I had a friend that's what she did. It was like laughter yoga or whatever. It's like laughing is such great therapy. So I can't imagine, because if I was around your mom, then I would start laughing. You'll see those videos once in a while go back to TikTok. You'll see those videos where somebody's laughing. You have no idea what they're laughing at because they've taken so long to get to the story, because they're already laughing, and then you're laughing and you don't even know why the heck you're laughing. You're just laughing because they're laughing. Oh my
Exactly. It's
gosh.
the best.
I've seen so many of those lately. I saw one the other day where it was a girl that was on a farm, and these cows were all standing. Now I'm gonna say it, people are gonna go look it up, but these cows were standing by her, and she goes to walk up a hill, and she just face plants, and the cows just go poof and turn around and start running. And cows are like this. My husband grew up on a farm. They are like this. You do one thing, they just all move, right? But it was like they were all just staring, and she goes, and they just run. Well, this other woman's like going to tell the story, and she's like, "Hey, have you seen the video?" And she just keeps laughing. And I'm like, what's the video? So I had to go look the freaking video up, because I had to find out what was she laughing about.
Oh,
Was a
it's so
funny
great.
video, by the way, but I was like stuck laughing before I could even get to that, because she's trying to tell this and she can't get the story out without laughing. So I love it. I
Mm,
think laughter is good therapy.
laughter is
So
so good.
yes, it is. So one final question I would love to ask you, for somebody listening to this, what would you like people to know about? We're just adding to this because you've said so many great things about the leadership, your family, the company, all about it. But any final thing that you want somebody listening to know about Green Goo right now?
Green Goo. What I want you to know. Well, you can't live without it, and you shouldn't, because it is amazing. And get rid of all that one-time use stuff that is in your first aid cabinet and replace it with minimalistic first aid, which is amazing. And oh, by the way, there's also some awesome anti-aging products in there, personal care products. We have deodorant that has, so like if you look at your armpit, it's obviously like
Yeah.
this really interesting skin. It absorbs 70% of what you put under there. So in our deodorant, we don't just exclude certain ingredients, we include stuff. So like ginkgo biloba,
Right.
ashwagandha, holy
Yep.
basil, functional mushrooms, vitamin C. So we're
Yeah.
constantly at Green Goo innovating and thinking about how we can bring a more integrative, holistic approach to your skincare, because our skin, the largest organ, isn't just
Right.
something that protects our other organs. There's a number of neurotransmitters in there that are critical to our homeostasis and to our longevity. And so thinking about our skin in a different way and really nurturing it and giving it the food for your skin, you will feel the mind body change. Last night, after I said, okay, I'm done, and I watched my husband do all the lunch boxes, I'm like, I just need a little extra something. And so I
Yeah.
took the salve, shoulders down, wrapped up in the bathrobe, and just let my skin absorb it. And then I put my pajamas on and I went to bed and I slept beautifully. And you wake up because your skin just like drank all these nutrients and you
Yeah.
actually feel different.
I love it. Well, I know what all those things are, those herbs you were talking about too. So I know what
All
all
right.
that stuff is. Yes, I know about ashwagandha. I was talking to my mother because believe it or not, I'm actually supplement certified. I'm a keto certified keto carnivore coach, but I'm also supplement certified. So I know a lot of those things. And just like today, I was talking to somebody and she's like, "Yeah, I'm taking calcium," and I'm like, "Are you doing vitamin D?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "You need vitamin K. Vitamin D and vitamin K go together. You don't do one without the other." And then my mother calls me the other day and she's like, "What do I do for anti-aging?" And I'm like, "Oh, mom, that's like a whole story, but we got to start here."
Love it.
So, yes. And we were actually talking about ashwagandha. She goes, "But I'm taking like thyroid medication." I'm like, "I don't know if we should do that with thyroid medication. So you need to get off of that. We need to do something different." So I
I
am
love that
all
she knows to come to you. That's so
yes.
great.
Yes, I know all kinds of stuff. I was telling the gal today, I'm like, because I take lots of supplements and stuff, and I have to because, I say former runner because I hate to say former because I'm starting back running again, back up. I've always exercised, but I will get into these, like I'm a former marathon runner, and then I will take a break for a while because my health gets kind of crappy. But typically, when that happens, it's because my nutrition gets off because when you're training like that, you really have to pay attention to everything. So, like, I'm not kidding you. Like, I take iodine and I have magnesium, I take mushrooms, I have so many things that I do just to make sure that I'm keeping up with like my thyroid and all of those things because they will go crazy. So I love it. I love what you guys are doing. And I like that, you said get I guess those simple fixes. I say they're like band-aid fixes, right? Like they don't really, they solve the immediate, but
Mhm.
they got other things we don't like about them. So, I love it. I love it. So Jodi, anybody listening to this, obviously, hopefully when they get done, they're going to be like, yes, we need to go check this out. Check out this brand, this company, the family, Jodi, all of the things. Where do we want to send them?
GreenGoo.com. You can also find us on Amazon, but GreenGoo.com will have the whole assortment and all of the other brands that are there as well.
I'm so glad you're on Amazon. I didn't even know that. Now, and thank you I am so glad I did not even know that. Man, Jodi, you're going to laugh. I have everything on subscription on Amazon. I'm going to be
It's the
Green Goo
best.
subscriptioning.
Yes.
I have gotten so like with my shopping. I'm like, dude, we buy this cat food brand, whatever, subscription. We buy
Subscription.
this subscription because you save money and it's so much easier,
Yes.
right?
And you don't
It's
have to think about it. So to your point, I have Green Goo, all my herbs, my supplements, everything, Amazon subscription. Yeah,
I
I
love
love
it.
it. It's
I
the
love it. Okay,
best.
well, we are sisters on this one. We got it going, girl. You are amazing. I want to tell you, thank you so much for coming on here. Thank you for sharing your story, talking about the products. I love it. I want to commend you, your family, and tell you to keep doing the good thing because obviously whatever you're doing is working and you're changing lives and helping people and giving back to the community. So thank you so much for all of your greatness.
Thank you. I appreciate being in this container with you and spending time. All the goodness that you're spreading. It's wonderful to be a part of it.
Thank you, Jodi. All right. And of course, we do want to say to our audience, we appreciate you. We love you. We hope that you found this episode both inspiring and informative. And if you did, of course, go check out Green Goo and check out the products. Go get yourself some, try it out. And then, of course, here, be sure that you do all the things here like, comment, share, subscribe so we can keep sharing all of this fabulous content with you. And as I always say, in order to live the extraordinary, you must start. And guess what? Every start begins with a decision to do something different today and lead with curiosity. All right. You guys take care, be safe, be kind to one another, and we will see you next time.